Do you need help sniping in Call of Duty, Call of Duty Warzone? I'm Tantus82, this is T82 Warzone Intel. I've got you. Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to talk about sniping. I want to talk about my thought process when I'm taking some of the shots that you see on my channel. What we're going to talk about is crosshair placement on static targets, how high to aim above the head, how far away they are and how close they are. And we're going to talk about sort of lead-in times, about when a target is moving, how far you need to place your crosshair in front and why you need to do that. And I'm going to talk about my thought process, what I'm doing when I'm taking some of these shots. Just so that you get an understanding of what I'm doing and why I'm thinking what I'm thinking and why I'm placing my crosshair and how I actually hit some of these shots. What we're going to do is I'm going to play a couple of videos. I'm going to watch the video and then I'm going to slow it down and we're going to break it down into sort of like what I'm doing and what my thought process is. So what we'll do is we'll go straight in and we'll go to the first clip. So on this clip here, I'm going to let them play through, but this first video is I'm using the Victor sniper, and on the second video I'm using the HDR. Now obviously we'll watch it through and we'll break it down and we'll go through the process. So as you can see here, shot, down. Next one here, I get two here actually, but it's the same process, shot, down, shot, down. So right here, I'm going to slow it down a little bit so we can talk about what I'm doing. So I'm going to let it play through and we're going to stop it about here. Right, so on this left hand side where I'm using the Victus, you can see the target head is roughly about here. Now my crosshair placement is just a little bit above. Now the reason for this is on the Victus, the bullet velocity isn't as good as the HDR on the right. And because of that, you have to place your crosshair slightly above your target, depending on distance. So obviously these snipes here, I think they're, if I remember rightly, they're maybe about in between 100 and 150 meters away, I think they were. And I think they're roughly about the same distance. So on the right hand side, you can see the HDR, I'm pretty much on his head. I'm on his head and I get the down. With the Victus on the left, I have to aim slightly above. And it's like I said before, it is because the bullet velocity is different. Now, obviously I'm just looking at two snipers here. There's, quite a few snipers in Call of Duty. And that leeway above the head is going to vary between different snipers. So my suggestion would be is if you don't like using the HDR or the Victus here and you like using a different one, my suggestion would be is jump into a casual game, put your build on, go in, aim at a few bots, do sort of like distance or try and do some quite far away ones, some close ones, and just have a bit of a play because it is a little bit of trial and error. But we're coming to the end of Black Ops 6, so chances are you're probably using the HDR, and I think you're talking anywhere from 100 potentially up to 150 meters. You're talking on the head. Obviously, we'll let this play through and we'll see the kills again. So there, shot, down, and you can kind of see it. That's how it is. This next one here, there's two targets here that are quite close. Obviously, I know they're there because we've got a UAV up and we can see that they are here up in this top corner. And I know that there's two because I can see it on the UAV. So at this point, we'll let it play through. We'll stop and we'll go and we'll stop here. You can see pretty much on the head. We'll take the shot, down it goes. Next one, we'll watch. I see him peep, so I go back across. We see waiting for him to peep. So at this point, I know that he's got a peek because he's already peeked me once. He's ducked back in because he's seen me. I've seen him. I've come back in behind the crate. But what I've done is I'll just go back a slight touch. And you can see what I've done here. So we'll play it here. So right here, I've lined him up. So we'll go back. I've lined him up here, just as I go behind the thing. And what I do is I don't move my crosshair because I know that when I come to the other side of this these crates, I'm going to be still aiming roughly about where he's going to be. So we'll play it through. As you can see, I'm roughly about there. I'll do a slight adjustment because I'm not quite on it. But I know that he's going to peek out of this door because he's already done it before. So what I'll do is I'll wait literally like a second. There he is, bang, headshot, down. So that was my thought process about that close range. I've used the intel in the top corner. I know the HDR is pretty much is on his head at that range, and just sort of hiding behind them crates just to give me a little bit of cover. I know he's going to peek, so I already know where he is, and I get the 2 kills. And that was my thought process for that little clip. Now, on this clip, what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit about leading. And actually, on this clip, I do make a mistake, and this is why I've used this clip, because it does emphasize about where your crosshair and what your crosshair should be doing, and the placement and the place that you should put it. So what we'll do is we'll let this clip go through, we'll break it down, and we'll go through the process. So as you can see, he's quite far away. I've laid in quite far. I've got the crack, I've got the down, and then subsequently I get the kill. So what we'll do here is we'll break it down. So I'll pause it about here. As you can see, and I'm going to talk you through why I made a mistake here. So as you can see on this clip, my leading, because I think this kill is roughly about 300 meters away, so it's quite a far away. So my leading times here, if you can see where my crosshair is placed here, you can see that it is, you know, maybe about half a centimeter in front of him on the screen. Now the mistake that I make here is my crosshair placement is too low. So when I take this first shot, I'm going to hit him probably somewhere around here because my crosshair is too low for the distance that he is. And obviously this emphasizes why crosshair placement is quite good, especially if you want to get that like first shot down. Now, a little tip here that I'm going to go through as we go through this video is, because I only get a crack, a strip his plate, and just I probably stripped most of his health off because I've probably hit him somewhere around the neck area. The next shot that I do after this shot is we're going to talk about. So anyways, we'll put it through. So I take the shot, lead in, take the shot. I get a crack. So obviously this next shot here, I'm just going to pause it. This next shot that I take, I know that I only have to hit him. So this is just like a little tip that I've done for a while, and I think probably people are probably a bit annoyed, but in my head, like this is just how the process that I go through. So this first shot, my crosshair wasn't in the right place, leading was good. Hit him, strip his blade, probably most of his health. I know that the next shot, I just need to hit him. It doesn't matter whether it's a headshot, whether it's a body shot, I just need to hit him because his health is going to be really low. So we'll go through, we'll break it down. And right about here, I see that he slides, so his head's gone down, but I've moved my crosshair up slightly so that I know that my crosshair is in the right placement. And as you can kind of see, the way my crosshair is slightly higher, you can kind of see that I am still slightly to the left. That is because he's still moving, but he's gone more forward, so he's not moving quite as as quick. So what we'll do is we'll play it. You can see here, I take the shot, I get the down, and then now he's just a static target on the floor. And because he's obviously quite far away, sort of like 300 meters away, when I'm taking this next shot, I aim slightly above because I know the bullet velocity, and then the bullet's going to drop onto him and I get the kill. And obviously we'll play that through, and you can see, bang, get the kill. So I hope that's helped. I hope that you now understand why I hit these shots and what my thought process is as I'm going through these shots. Leading time is important for a moving target. It's really important. Obviously, that depends on distance as well. So if they're slightly closer, as we talked about in the first sort of part of this video, when they're closer, it's pretty much just aim for the head anywhere within that 100 meters. As it gets further away, you've got to lead in a bit more, and your crosshair's got to be slightly down. So it is a little bit complicated. It is a bit sort of complicated a little bit, but I think once you get it, you just get it. And especially if you use one particular sniper a lot, you will get it pretty quick. And like I say, my suggestion is that you go into casuals, you use the build that you like, and just test them distances, test them leading times. Now, obviously, on a couple of my videos, you will see me sniping out helicopters and cars and bikes and stuff like that. Now, obviously, with them, the principles of that is pretty much the same. You need to lead in and your crosshair placement needs to be correct. Obviously, with vehicles, the difference is that the vehicles are moving pretty quick. So your leading times have got to be quite a lot. So in that video there, the leading time was, about half a centimetre. When you're doing vehicles, because they're moving so fast, you've got to put a bigger leading time, and the distance is maybe still a factor. For the further ones away, your leading time's got to be longer, your crosshair's got to be placed slightly higher. So the principles are the same, but obviously as you shoot a vehicle that is closer, you still have to lead in. Obviously, when a static target or a target like the one that we just watched, which is moving, the leading's not quite a lot. And for the distance, and obviously when there's a closer, you're pretty much aiming at the head. But with a vehicle, where if the vehicle's close and it is within that 100-meter range we just talked about, you still need to lead in because the vehicle is moving quite fast. So what I'll do is I'll leave it there. If you've liked the video, please go like, subscribe, go check out my videos, and obviously you can kind of see what I'm doing as well in some of my other videos. But if you use a different technique, or you've got some questions about what I'm doing and what I've just talked about, please drop them below. I'll respond to them as quickly as I can and be as genuine and honest as I can of what I do. Obviously, if you use slightly different techniques, drop them below. Obviously, people like sniping, and I think a lot of people do struggle with it a lot. So any help that we can give to everybody, just pass it on. So I'll leave it there. I'm Tantos82. This is Warzone Intel. Till next time.